this again. Okay, so for Dad, you came from a very big family. So did you ever think that when you married with Kay that you'd ever have his family as big as what you grew up in? Did you ever envision that?
No, well, I think, one of the things that when you come from a big family like that, there isn't a whole lot of extra money, and yet my parents, felt it was very important for us to go to college, but, you know, uh, they never ever considered having, I don't know, we had talked about once maybe going more than two, but never did.
We were very blessed. We had a girl and a boy, and that we probably would have, always tried for a different, if we'd had two girls or two boys first, but it worked out. God blessed us very, very much.
Other than wood carving, do you have any other hobbies or things that you like to do?
Well, I still stay in chemistry, and I still, I'm still out trying to figure out why things work the way they work and whatever. Uh, I pretty much stopped trying to correct people who try to tell me how something works and incorrectly, but I thought, okay, so you think you know, but I haven't forgotten my chemistry yet.
Do you collect any stamps? Do you collect coins?
Well, I tried several other things. I did stained glass for a while, and I like stained glass, except that you have to have a lot of space, and I didn't have a lot of space. And we finished out the basement, and so I did a little bit of woodworking. Though I did the furniture at the lake, and which was all fine. But I guess I like the portability of wood carving because you can wood carve anytime, anywhere.
And you do.
That's good. That's good. So in talking about wood carving here and so forth, do you have any idea over all these years, and remind us how many years it has been, how many wood carvings you've done?
Well, I don't know. I would guess that they're probably close to 1,000 in our house right now, and I've carved probably 34 years. Yeah, I think it's 34 years now, and I guess what I would call a very avid wood carver. Uh, I carve almost every day, and some things, like this year I carved about 75 Christmas ornaments so far. Uh, Hopefully maybe that's all the Christmas ornaments will do, but I like to carve, and I sell some, and but I don't advertise or anything. That I've done a fair number of commissions over the years, and pays for the wood and maybe a tool. I haven't bought any tools for a long time now. One of the neat things about wood carving is you buy a good tool and they last a long time.
Just like if you find a good wife, you hang on to her.
Amen.
Just throwing a random number out there, how long would you say you'll spend on each wood carving that you'll work on?
Well, it varies a lot. You know, since I was diagnosed with lung cancer, 2 years ago, almost today, uh, and I started making those angels, and when the one time Larry Brewster timed me, I think it was 39 seconds, I could make an angel ornament. And some of the others are like, those last chip carving ones that I did, about 30 of them? I had those down to, I think, about an hour or a little over an hour. So, but it varies. If it's a figure carving that's kind of different, posed and that type of thing, it will take a lot longer if I do a second one or a third one, or because after you've done one, you know where the wood has to come off so it looks like what you had planned it to look like.
Okay. For a while there, I think there was a team effort that Kay assisted some of the wood carving, maybe with painting. How did that work out?
No, she
It
told me to
didn't.
paint your own. So, oh, yeah, she never painted anything.
But I vacuumed many chips.
Well, you've done a lot of different types of wood carvings. I think we kind of did describe some of what you like to do. But if you had to list 1, 2, and 3 of the types of wood carvings you like to do, what would the order be, and what would they be?
Well, I started doing figure carvings, and so, and I still probably like to do them more. I don't mind doing birds and ducks. I don't like painting the ducks and birds because a lot of the feathers have 2 and 3 colors in each feather. I do very, very few animals and very few fish. In order to do whatever it is, in order to do well, you have to know what it's supposed to look like. And that doesn't seem to bother some people, but
All right, so take me back to let's go into this area. I know it's going to skip you around, but it's okay. So you played racquetball for a number of years. Remind me again on what got you into that, who you played against, and what kind of motivated you to play that sport?
well, I was looking. It was a good form of exercise, and we used to play sometimes 3 times a week racquetball, and I got good enough to be in the A League. And one of the guys that showed up on a regular basis was a representative of some kind of church school, and we used to play against each other. And he was fairly good, and so we went all out each time, and it was a very good exercise, and enjoyed it. Then after he moved away, I quit because a lot of the other people that I was in a league, and a lot of them didn't show up when they were supposed to show up. So I finally said, okay, that's it.
Maybe they were scared of you.
Yeah, I doubt
Heard
that.
you were good.
Well, they were all A-League people too, but I don't know. I suppose maybe in their defense, their jobs maybe weren't quite as flexible as mine were. Because I was able to leave. I started at 7 in the morning at BSC, and so I could go play racquetball at 4 o'clock with no problem. And not everybody, so if something came up, I suppose they felt they should stay there.
All right. Do you have a favorite food?
Well, Kay has said before, I have a lot of favorite foods. I probably, and my sisters do make this for me once in a while, the apple cheese strudel that my mother used to make, and then you've made it a couple of times, and Kathy and Rose make some, and every time they make some, they bring me one. So I suppose a good apple strudel might be my favorite. But
Well, you grew up on a farm also. I would say, in terms of a main entree, if Mom was to cook you a meal that you would be like, wow, that's the meal I want, what would it be?
well, I don't know. We make like a good lasagna, even though it's not German, but a good lasagna.
Pigs in the blanket?
Oh yeah, we do the pigs in a blanket periodically. I have to bribe her sometimes a little bit. She always says it's too much work, but
Okay, so how about growing up in terms of when, with all the kids at the farm and so forth, what did you guys eat a lot for your main dinners? Was it always just sandwiches and that's it?
no. Actually, we did not have very many sandwiches ever. And bless her heart, my mother was, along with my sisters, they were, pretty much, they knew that when we came in, we'd be hungry. And during chicken season, we'd have a lot of chicken, and other than that, there'd be a lot of roasts because we had a lot of beef and that type of thing. And so other than that, we didn't have a lot of store food though. There weren't, you know, sometimes we would have some pork, even though we raised pork hogs, but not as often because the pork is so hard to store, and uh, especially for a long period of time.
Now, were you in that era when, I mean, the first storage, you know, as a kid? I mean, like when growing up, were they storing it how? I mean, you didn't have a fridge quite then?
No, well, we didn't have a fridge, and so everything was either canned. So there'd be a lot of canned meats and or that type of thing, and then smoked, a lot of smoked meat, that type of thing. And then most of our meats would be fresh meats during the summer when it was so warm, and then it's only in the wintertime that they would then do canned things, so you could maybe store them outside or in a garage. I mean, not outside, but
Right.
in a garage or something like that. Or
Mom, were you going to add something? Or?
No, well, I remember this story, Frank. You probably can help me along with it, but I remember your dad was processing meat somehow, and he had, was it in a brine?
oh yeah, well that was the last of our pork.
Yes.
He tried to brine his own pork, and so he butchered this pork and put it in the brine, and and then apparently you're supposed to leave it in there X amount of time, and when the time came to take it out, it was all moldy, so the whole pig was for naught, and that was the last time we had pork.
Well, how many years was that done? Well, I don't remember when that started, but how many years did you make sausage?
Oh, quite a few years, and we made sausage using the same recipe that my dad made for quite a few years.
Yes, we did.
And then we decided that we'd hire somebody. We hired somebody, some of the local butcher stores, to make sausage from, and it didn't ever taste like the sausage that I grew up on. So we gave up on that, and then it's only, I don't know, last 5 years or more that you can buy beef sausage at the butcher block in Mandan that's more similar to what we used to have.
Did you have any of growing up in terms of, there's Thanksgiving traditions, there's kind of holiday traditions. Did you have any of those with all the kids at the house? I mean, that you remember?
Well, when I was quite a bit younger, sometimes we would go over to one of the neighbors or something like that. And then when my oldest, Jerry or Dolores, got old enough and they had boyfriends or something like that, then they would come down and, then we'd have a family get together. But, most of my relatives had a fair number of kids themselves. And, especially, and you didn't have all microwaves and all the convenient things we had now, and not very many people wanted to feed 20, 30 people.
No, that's for sure. Okay. Going back to, you can probably start maybe in elementary school, or if you want to start at like middle school, whatever. What were your favorite subjects in school?
Well, I don't know that I had a favorite subject until I got into high school. I liked math, and we had a small school. The teacher taught the math and the physics and the chemistry, and I liked him, and he was very strict about everything, and so if you didn't get something done, you'd hear about it, and then so. It helped, I suppose, that I ended up helping a lot of other students in the class. And then you got to think, okay, now you're the kingpin. And so you work a little harder to stay at the top.
Sure.
But yeah, so when I first started college, I really didn't know what I was going to do other than take math classes because I liked math. And I don't know what I thought I was going to do, what my job was going to be, where that would involve only math. And so my first year of college, I went to Northern State College in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and everyone was required to take slide rule class. And so I bought the band.